Pick a day, city, make up an excuse for the fam, ditch a staffer, starch your white shirt, and be ready to kiss a lot.
Starch your white shirt.
Be ready to kiss a lot.
That's the most milquetoast shit I've ever heard. Starch your white shirt for our rendezvous.
Yikes. When can I see you? I want to kiss you. And I kiss back. A lot.
Who do you think will divorce first? Cal Cunningham's wife divorcing him or Melania divorcing Donald?
I have to assume Cal Cunningham's wife divorcing him because Melania can't divorce Donald. She has to wait for her to divorce him. I'm sure there's something in there for him to divorce her. I'm sure there's something in their prenup. I'm sure Donald Trump's prenups all have a clause that says you must wait until I decide to throw you away like garbage or else you lose whatever, millions of dollars. You are historically sexy every day and night.
Which one said that to the other?
He said that.
He said that to her?
Yeah. Hey, exclamation point, exclamation point. And you are historically sexy, period, every day and night.
Wow. I can't even begin to imagine how his wife would feel about knowing that he thought another woman was historically sexy. Again, there's no evidence they consummated this, just that they verbalized to one another that they wish to kiss a lot.
A lot?
A lot.
Be ready to kiss a lot.
What I like about the modifier of a lot there is it is unclear if it means frequency or intensity.
It's city business. It's city business.
Good day. I am Roman.
I'm Allison.
This is Seedy Business. It's the first time we've introduced ourselves on this podcast. We recently came to the determination that that was an enormous omission.
Cal Cunningham owes me $25.
Yeah, well, you aim to collect.
I'm going to bully that little nerd until he gives me $25.
I think it would be easy for you to get that. I think that if you emailed his campaign and said, I demand the return of my $25, that they would be in no position to say no to you.
Do you think I should start a spin-off podcast called Cal Cunningham Owes Me $25 where
you publicly badger him until he refunds your money? I think it could gain some traction. We could throw it in this feed. Well, we're recording this on Sunday, November 8th. We're both experiencing the hangover from the week of election uncertainty. I think you are experiencing a literal hangover also.
One bottle of champagne is a normal amount for a 100-pound person to consume. I don't know what you mean.
Well, has our garden gone to seed in the last couple weeks? What's up? What's in the garden?
Then let us cultivate our garden. It's the only way to make life endurable.
What's in the garden?
You're going to be really disappointed to learn that I
Did you check the sweet potatoes?
haven't checked the sweet potatoes.
Oh, no.
I've been too busy thinking about Cal Cunningham's steamy hot text messages to bring myself
too
to
horny.
dig up a sweet potato.
Well, if we haven't dug them up yet, it's sort of a Schrodinger's sweet potato situation.
Yeah.
So let's just assume that our yard is teeming with sweet potatoes right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption.
Anything else going on?
Well, the cucamelons are really going wild.
Yeah. We have some more tomatoes on that plant in front.
Yeah, that's true.
We should probably eat them.
We should definitely eat them today.
They're quite small. These are they're cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes.
They're cherry tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes. They're quite small. They're very intensely red and intensely sweet.
Yeah.
That's how I would characterize them. Are they a particular variety?
They might be sweet 100s or something.
Mm.
Sorry, I know people want all the hot updates about our straggly, failing garden instead of...
The sweet potato would be good to know about for Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know if we're going to feed people sweet potatoes from our yard at any point.
Yeah, we're thinking about having a few people for a socially distanced outside Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a tough
call. But if we do, they should eat our shitty sweet potatoes.
We'll see.
Okay.
The thing is, we have a bag of sweet potatoes already.
Oh, okay.
In the house. So there's that. And if people miss any of the traditional Thanksgiving dishes, they can just eat some candy corn.
Well, our CD short for this week is Sage. Next Friday, the Sage CD short will come out in honor of the most American of holidays, the Thanksgiving.
I thought you were going to say in honor of the excessive amount of sage flavoring in some of those candy corns.
All right, well, let's turn to today's catalog, which is the 2020 Richters Urban Vegetable Catalog. I like this catalog. I think a couple things about it. I debated whether it would be a reasonable one to do now, since we just did Strictly Medicinal a couple episodes ago, like whether we should do another herb catalog. And in fact, that being our second to third Strictly Medicinal episode that we've done. But this one has quite a different tone to it. I would say the herbs, while the descriptions sometimes touch on that they might be used medicinally, in general, the framing of it isn't as medicinal herbs. It's sort of culinary herbs and other vegetables. I also think the descriptions are often rich and nice. This is the 50th anniversary of the Richters catalog, the 2020 catalog. So the first catalog came out in 1970. It looks like they were founded in the 60s before that by Waltraud and Otto Richter, who were German immigrants. So I don't know what their past was necessarily, but it would be interesting to know, having come over in the 50s or 60s. Their catalog reads, when our founders Waltraud and Otto Richter opened their nursery, among the thousands of flowers they grew were a few crazy-looking plants set aside in a corner of the greenhouse. Handwritten on the labels were names like Bonnerkraut, Liebstöckel, Pfefferminze, and Baldrian, herbs remembered from back home in Europe. Those herbs weren't for sale, they were for their personal garden, but they did catch the eyes of curious customers who wanted to know more. So that is how they got into. They started with flowers, and they grew herbs from back home in their personal lives, and their customers demanded that they began offering their novel herbs as well. Looks like the company's currently run. Their son Conrad did a master's degree in botany, and he took a trip to Ghana to study African herbs there. And met his wife, Aku. So they now run the company that was founded by his parents and sort of have a more global offering of herbs. Yeah, so at this point, about half the catalog is culinary vegetables of some sort. That's the latter half, and the first half of it is all herbs. They have a series of pages where they list events that happen at Richters, where you can go to their site to be present for seminars that they have. They have a seminar on herbal anti-inflammatories and analgesics, one on creating a sanctuary of at-risk herbs, one on growing your own microgreens, making your own healing teas. So, there are, of course, medicinal aspects to their herbs, but it's not like the focus of the catalog. They offer a herb walk where you can go and take a tour of all of their herb offerings, which sounds like it would be fun. And of course, they have the requisite oils and accoutrement for doing fun things with your herbs. Let's get into some descriptions. I'm so impressed by the enormous amount of varieties of some of these things that they have. Like, their offerings are so broad. Let's see, looks like they have approximately 30 mint offerings, which blows most catalogs out of the water. I don't think even other herb catalogs we've looked at have quite so many varieties of each of these things. Let's read some mints.
Well, first of all, I need to read chameleon fish mint.
Okay.
Vietnamese herb used fresh on meat dishes and in soups. Unusual but interesting fish-like flavor. Striking red, green, and white variegated ground cover for shady areas. Very easy to grow, shade tolerant. And it looks like a beautiful plant. They've got pictures of it.
I've never heard anything described as tasting like fish before in the vegetable world.
Yeah, that is an unusual palate.
And they don't mean that it complements fish. They mean that it actually tastes like fish.
Yeah, I guess it has some fishy note.
Is this in the mint section?
It's actually in the fish mint section.
Whoa, they have so many mints that there's a subsection of mint called fish mint?
It's not clear that it's a mint. It's probably some kind of mint because that family is so big, but it doesn't look like when we think of. But it looks like a really nice ornamental, ground cover houseplant kind of thing. It's got pink and yellow edges on green spade-shaped leaves. It looks really nice. And the idea of being able to get a little hit of a fishy flavor, maybe it's like adding fish sauce to your food or something to be able to give it a little bit of that flavor. Seems like it could have an interesting place in your kitchen garden.
Sure. All right, well, let's get to some real mints. I will start with Maryland's salad mint. This is a completely different mint with a completely different role in the kitchen as a fresh salad green. The young leaves are tender and the flavors are mild, sweet, and delicate, not at all like other stronger mints that can easily overpower. Quite the sensation in salads. Just pick the leaves, strip them from the stems, and throw them liberally into your salad mix. For tender foliage, grow this mint in partial shade and cut often to keep the young leaves coming. It's hard to imagine a salad built on mint that wouldn't be completely overwhelming, but I'd like to try that.
Well, it sounds like it has a pretty mild flavor. Back when we had a bunch of mint, we used to have mint in our salads pretty often.
Sure, but as a flavoring agent,
yeah.
What percentage of a salad would be comprised by mint? 5%, yeah, that sounds right.
But those were normal mints.
You had the chocolate mint, which I think we've talked about on the podcast before.
That was a good one. That was a really good plant.
You want to read their chocolate mint?
It's quite beautiful and tasted great. Sure. Chocolate mint. For years, we were convinced that chocolateness was a figment of someone's imagination. Peppermint is overlaid by something that adds up to a striking peppermint patty scent. A real treat for discriminating noses.
Well, I haven't had a peppermint patty in decades. That was one of the treats that my maternal grandmother would give me sometimes. She was very much a had hard candies in her purse grandmother, like that sort of gross shit. But we occasionally would get a peppermint patty, that was always a pretty good treat.
Pink Candy Pops mint. We don't normally think of mints as ornamental, but the late mint breeder extraordinaire, Jim Westerfield, found a way to make this mint look like $1 million. Its pink puff flowers appearing in summer look just like pink lollipops. Can be grown in beds or in containers.
Wow, so there's a mint genius known as Jim Westerfield.
Well, husband of Marilyn, it turns out.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Wow, what a family. What a power couple.
Because the very next entry after Pink Candy Pops is Citrus Kitchen Mint. Among the many new mints the late mint breeder Jim Westerfield introduced to the world, this was the one his wife Marilyn loved the most. As Jim told us, quote, she uses it in, of all things, her early morning orange juice. He and his wife predicted that in time, this mint will become one of the most used utility mints in professional kitchens.
Wow. These are in a subsection, by the way, called the Westerfield mints.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, let's read some of these. A lot of them are named after candies, which is fun. The cotton candy mint reads, as mint breeder Jim Westerfield once told us, the first time I smelled this hybrid, a voice in my head said cotton candy. You'll see the pictures of Pope Gregory like a bird singing into his ear the entirety of the Gregorian chant repertoire. that was, beamed into his head by the Holy Spirit. And that's how we got Gregorian chant. I feel like
this is on that level. Yeah.
Jim Westerfield is an oracle from God who is like divinely inspired.
Sing muse.
Yeah. It goes on. It had a certain soft, sweet aroma, combined with, of all things, pink flowers. What's interesting is that there exists not one bottle of flavoring anywhere on any shelf in the world whose label reads cotton candy. Nope, such a seasoning has simply never existed.
Wow. Jim's Fruit Mint. Among the many unique mints developed by mint breeder Jim Westerfield, this was probably his favorite. Its leaves are deep green with a truly delicious, fruity aroma. It becomes a huge, robust mint, seemingly very proud of itself. And it should be. It's gorgeous.
It doesn't look like they have a description for candy lime in this PDF catalog. Richters does offer it on their website. I'm going to read it off their site. It's hard to play favorites with your babies, but for mint breeder Jim Westerfield, this one always had a special place in his heart. It possesses a superb sweet lime aroma with all sorts of possibilities for the kitchen. Try it in candies, cookies, cakes, salads, seafood, anywhere you need to create a new sensation. Interestingly, the sweet lime aroma of fresh cut leaves actually gets stronger when stored overnight. Richters holds exclusive propagation rights in Canada.
I mean, that sounds very appealing, a lime-scented mint.
Yeah, it seems like the thing about the Westerfield mints, now that I'm looking at them, is they are named after what he thinks they smell/taste like that are not mints.
Yeah.
Like these names were, they came to him as he was experiencing the mints. Besides the ones we've read, they include Hillary's Sweet Lemon Mint, Berries and Cream Mint, Sweet Pear Mint, Wintergreen Mint, Margarita Mint. That's going places, the Margarita Mint. It reads, "Here's to you, a big, bold, lime-scented mint for your next margarita. This hybrid is a beauty with lots of physical definition." Does that mean it has abs?
Yeah, I think it has abs.
This mint has abs, as breeder Jim Westerfield put it. And so it does, with perfectly shaped groovy leaves and a hint of dark bronze at the tips at times. This mint means fun. Does not spread by underground rhizomes like most mints, but it still gets around by above ground runners. Wow, I just pulled up an article about Jim Westerfield.
What have you learned?
Well, he was a real Renaissance man, it looks like. He was a self-taught musician and composer. He had an interest in antiques from the American Revolution. They ran an inn, he and his wife, called the Westerfield House. And of course, he was a culinary gardener and amateur botanist. This article's claiming Hillary's Sweet Lemon Mint was his crowning achievement.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of the few mint varieties ever to be granted a United States patent. And they've really built a mythology for him where he grew up during the Depression. When he was 10, he found a tattered old magazine with an article entitled "Grow Your Own Seasonings." And that's how then a lifetime of mint cultivation was born in that moment.
Well, the entry in the catalog for Hillary's Sweet Lemon Mint says that it was named for Hillary Clinton.
Wow. I guess that's how it got a patent.
Because it is an aggressive female mint.
Oh, God. Okay.
With lavender flower spikes.
I don't know what to take from that. Do you think he wanted to lock her up?
I can't imagine.
Yeah, probably he meant that in a complimentary way, I guess.
I mean, if you name your crowning achievement after someone,
sure.
The full description is developed from apple and lime mint. It has the sweet, fruity aroma of apple mint, lined with a citrus edge. An aggressive female mint with lavender flower spikes, named after Hillary Clinton.
Great news. As a composer, he did appear to have one hit song.
Ooh.
Which is from 1965 called "Another Time, Another Place."
Like, are we talking a top 40s kind of thing?
We're talking it was a spotlight single on the Billboard's charts in 1965.
Well, thinking about breeding all of these different flavored mints makes me want to go to the geranium section. The descriptions of all the geraniums are quite short, so I think we can read a few of them.
Rapid fire.
Yeah. But similar to breeding mints with notes of other types of, fruits and herbs, there was a huge fad, I think, in the 70s. But maybe that was also the resurgence of an even older fad for breeding geraniums that smelled like lots of different interesting things.
Huh. And you don't think that when you do that with a plant, that it doesn't imply that the scent or taste of this is not enough as it is, that we must include additional notes for it to be palatable?
Wow, you live in a boring world.
Well, why doesn't the scent of geranium stand on its own?
I think it's just the seeing what you can do. What scents can we get out of a geranium? And what I like...
botanists they're explorers in a sense.
Sure. What I also like about these geranium descriptions is that whoever wrote them is, I think, trying to be very honest about whether it in fact smells like what it is named after, or if in their opinion it's a pretty poor imitator.
What have we got?
Almond. Pungent, resinous, nutty odor, possibly reminiscent of almonds. Very showy pink flowers.
Yeah. If you're really squinting, this seems like, I wouldn't completely reject the idea that it smells like almonds.
Possibly reminiscent of almonds.
Yeah, that's several steps removed.
Apple. Charming Victorian favorite. Delightful apple and cinnamon fragrance.
Apricot has another one of those extreme qualifiers in it.
Well, it's intermediate, I would say. It seems like they're agreeing that the apple really smells like apple and cinnamon. The almond doesn't really, but if you want to get there, you can force it. And then the apricot description is strong scent, possibly of apricots. Lovely deep rose flowers, dark glossy leaves. Citrosa. Claimed to keep mosquitoes, black flies, and other biting insects at bay. Studies suggest that it is not effective. But even if it has no effect, its refreshing citronella scent and ease of culture make it worthwhile.
I mean, that's incredible honesty.
Yeah. I think they're trying to be very honest about what it really smells like.
Well, that makes me trust them, I've got to say.
Coconut. Coconut scent. Self-sows readily. Small dark leaves. Compact, somewhat trailing habit. Ideal for hanging baskets. They don't qualify that at all. They just say coconut scent. So I guess they've nailed that one. Orange fizz. Strong orange lemon scent is addictive. A fun plant for containers, window boxes, and as a border plant in the scented garden. Light pink and mauve bicolored flowers. The various levels of qualification are really nice. We've got Frencham lemon with absolutely delightful lemon scent. Ginger with faint ginger scent. Gray Lady Plymouth with good rose scent. They're not shy about trying to really grade their judgments on not just how much it smells like the thing it claims, but how good they think that scent is.
Yeah, very appreciated. There's one called the Mrs. Taylor, which, much like the Hillary Clinton mint, this one reads, flowers bright red, very showy, pungent, crinkled leaves. I don't know who Mrs. Taylor is, but this is very showy, pungent, and crinkled. So I don't know if she's flattered by this or not.
What else would you like to read?
So I was getting into a Jim Westerfield hole a little bit.
Here's a classic. This is a very frank description of the Peter pepper, the likes of which I've never seen. They usually, if you would go to page 51, you'll see the Peter pepper, which is often described euphemistically in catalogs, but this simply says, an heirloom pepper that undeniably looks like an uncircumcised penis.
Okay.
It is perhaps not for everybody, but if you are growing this in your garden for all to see, it does help to have a healthy dose of humor. This unusual chili is actually quite edible and hot.
Okay, there's a picture of this here, and I just have to say that I don't think it looks like an uncircumcised penis. I think it looks like a circumcised penis. Oh, is that the foreskin that...
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm glad we could clear that up for our listeners who are not looking at a picture of this.
Yeah, well...
But
I'll put a picture of it in the show notes, and also, incidentally, a picture of Jim Westerfield's hit single, which I could find, unfortunately, no recording online.
Yeah, they look like dicks. Oh, and here's a fish pepper. I don't think it tastes like fish, though, unlike fish mint. Attractive pepper plant with white mottled foliage and striped fruits. The curving fruits look a little like swimming fish. They turn from white with green stripes to orange with brown stripes to solid red when mature. This pepper has been grown by the African American community around Philadelphia and Baltimore for years, where its heat and full-bodied flavor are treasured for fish and shellfish.
There's the monkey face pepper, which is certainly an evocative name. It's a hot chili pepper with fruity, almost mango-like flavor. Although the heat is definitely there, the taste is not edgy or bitter like some other hot peppers. After the initial hot and spicy kick, the flavor lingers well after the heat subsides. The indented yellow fruits, 10 centimeters by 4 inches long, vaguely suggests the faces of monkeys. This variety came to us from Sweden, where chili enthusiasts apparently like their heat to come in fun shapes and flavors. I can't believe they wouldn't have a picture of the monkey face pepper.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Let's look it up.
The description of it sounds very appealing, though. The flavor seems great to me. A fruity mango-like flavor with good flavor that outlasts its heat.
These, I just looked up monkey faces. They don't look like monkey faces. They're pretty weird-looking peppers, but I don't know. For a pepper community that so accurately described the Peter pepper, really have to stretch your imagination to see a monkey face in this.
Whoa. How about this description? Trinidad scorpion pepper. Like a blast from hell.
That's what people want in peppers, apparently.
Not only that, like a blast from hell has been italicized and set in red font.
Whoa, go on in that description.
Okay. Like a blast from hell. Fresh or dried, it is so hot that it is, quote unquote, extremely dangerous, according to breeder Craig Dremen, and he recommends chemical-resistant gloves and a mask when handling it. The best way to use it is Louisiana style, which is to fill a hot sauce bottle with the pepper, add vinegar, lime juice, or vodka, and allow the liquid to steep the pepper for a week or two. Shake out the liquid to use and replace the liquid as it is used, reusing the same peppers over and over again. Note: the purchase of these seeds means that you are aware of the risks handling and ingesting this very hot pepper and its seeds, and you take all responsibility for any injuries or medical emergencies that may arise.
I bet.
It cannot be sold to the U.S.
Really?
Well, actually, a lot of these peppers say not to U.S., which is probably because of the virus quarantine. Yeah. So
right,
sorry for implying that the U.S. would not allow Canada to send this dangerously hot pepper.
Well, the first Google video hit for Trinidad scorpion pepper is a fellow who goes by the name Midwest Gardener eating a Trinidad scorpion pepper. He appears to be sweating profusely and eating a bowl of extremely soupy ice cream in order to deal with his obvious trauma.
Wow, great news. Piss off plant.
Where's that? Oh,
Page 52. And then once again set in red italics. Cats and dogs won't go near it. As much as we love our feline and canine friends, they can be a royal pain in the you-know-where when they carouse in our gardens. They romp around, damaging plants, dig holes, and otherwise do their business where they shouldn't. But dogs and cats, and rabbits too, stay away if a piss-off plant is nearby. For some reason not yet understood, they detest the odor of this plant. When planted 3 feet apart, the piss-off plant will protect a whole garden. Not offensive to humans and does not harm children or pets.
I don't know that science needs to investigate why it just smells like shit to them, so they don't want to go near it. It's like science has not yet grappled with why they are averse to this odor. There's the corn poppy, which in red italics says, the Flanders poppy of Great War. This is the red poppy immortalized in the wartime poem in Flanders Fields. It's now a prominent symbol of Remembrance Day. It's a very somber poppy. But its seeds are delicious on cookies, breads, rolls, and cakes, adding texture and a mild nutty flavor. For a special treat, try adding seeds to buttered noodles.
Ooh, that is a good idea.
Yeah, I've never considered doing that. But don't forget about the blood-stained Flanders fields as you're eating them.
That's very Homeric, representing a young life cut short with a red poppy.
Mm-hmm. There's the rock rose, which promises to stop bacteria in their tracks. This Mediterranean native has powerful antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral properties. Recent studies have shown that it is a powerful biofilm buster. Bacteria that can evade conventional antibiotics by forming protective biofilms can be stopped by rackrose extract that break up these biofilms and prevent bacteria from adhering to tissues in the body. A recent study showed that rockrose also prevents HIV infection in the same way. They are making some serious claims here.
These are the most dramatic medical claims we've encountered in this catalog.
Prevents
so far.
HIV, treats Lyme disease, effective for flu and cold, used for rheumatoid arthritis, fevers, skin abrasions, infections, acne. It's also delicious tea.
I'm sorry, is it meant to be used topically or internally?
Both.
They're making it seem like it would be topical.
You can do anything. You can rub it on your body. You can put it in your butt. You can brew it in a tea.
Well, judging by your practices recently, I'm surprised you're not ordering it right now to make a daily sinus wash to prevent COVID.
Yeah, well, that's...
Wow, you're already now you're considering it. I only had to say it.
I haven't seen any tinctures available on the open market.
Well, that's why we'd have to grow our own, and then you would maybe steep it in a tea.
I'll be long gone by then. If you're so inclined, you can elect to follow us on Twitter at @CDBusiness or on Instagram at CDBusinessPod, or you can email us at cdbusinesspod@gmail.com. If you want to leave us a review, we'll read it. If you want to suggest a catalog, we'll do it. And you should eat your vegetables, except if that vegetable is a 2 million Scoville heat unit Trinidad scorpion pepper.
We're all just trying the best we can.
Speak for yourself.
It's CD business. It's CD business. Boring talk about seeds, CD talk between pores. Mind-numbing chatter about ovules and spores. We'll dig a ditch and we'll moan and split the difference. It's CD business.